The extent to which the QAnon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the rest of these crazy bastards' insanity has infiltrated so much of the population of this country. It was put on full display today with this attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Now, regardless of what is decided over the next few hours, which is the time between when I'm recording this and when it will be available on Progressive Voices, it is abundantly clear to me the genesis of this attack, the motivation for this attack, the insanity of the person who committed the attack. And I'm not talking about clinical insanity that can be used as a mental defense or as a defense in a capital crime. I'm talking about the insanity that is being pumped on a daily basis into the political culture in this country by the Christian terrorists, every single one of them. There were some immediate responses from some of the Christian terrorists when this attack was made public. Mitch McConnell, that miserable son of a bitch, wrote, quote, in a tweet, he wrote, quote, horrified and disgusted by the reports that Paul Pelosi was assaulted in his and Speaker Pelosi's home last night. Grateful to hear that Paul is on track to make a full recovery and that law enforcement, including our stellar Capitol Police, are on the case. Do you know what's missing, I noticed, from this tweet? The pronoun I. Now, Chuck Schumer said, quote, what happened to Paul Pelosi was a dastardly act. I spoke with Speaker Pelosi earlier this morning, conveyed deep concern. I wish him a speedy recovery. But Mitch McConnell, the pronoun I is missing. Is that meaningful? Instead of saying, I am horrified and disgusted. Nope. Instead of saying, I am grateful to hear that Paul is on track to make a full recovery. Nope. And then you have Steve Scalise, the guy who at one point said, or somebody said about him, he's a Klansman without the hood. Steve Scalise, number 2 Republican in the House, Republican of Louisiana, Christian terrorist from Louisiana, said this in his own tweet. Disgusted to hear about the horrific assault on Speaker Pelosi's husband, Paul. Grateful for law enforcement's actions to respond. Let's be clear. Violence has no place in this country. Praying for Paul Pelosi's full recovery. Pronouns missing there, too. Well, that's strange. Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, who after the first of the year will be the House Majority, the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy tweeted, or a statement from his spokesman. Leader McCarthy reached out to the Speaker to check in on Paul and said he's praying for a full recovery and is thankful they caught the assailant. So the statement from McCarthy came through his spokesman. I can't help but notice that. Maybe I'm putting too fine a point on the whole thing about the missing pronoun, but I just found it interesting and disgusting and filthy and typical of Christian terrorists. All of these right-wingers, every one of these politicians that I used to identify as neo-fascist or neo-Nazi or whatever, and decided that was bullshit. What they really were Christian, because every one of them is, terrorists. Because they advocate for this kind of violence in their own inevitable way. And when violence like this occurs, they don't speak out against it. Oh, listen, I'm, very, very sorry to hear what happened. We're very sorry. Hoping Paul makes a full recovery. bullshit. And then another thing that's going to come up eventually in this bastard's defense, the assailant, the person who breaks into the home of the number 2 person in line for the presidency. I'm sure he will, or somebody in the Christian right terrorism organization, there are many of them in this country, will make sure this guy has adequate legal defense. Dark money, you might say. And part of his defense, count on this, will be, he's temporarily insane. He was a loner, which is utter bullshit. None of these crazy son of a bitches are loners, not the ones who attempt to kill the Speaker of the House, and when she's not available, the husband of the Speaker, nor these crazy fuckers who break into synagogues or churches or schools and start killing people. These are not loners. These are people who may live alone. They may spend most of the time alone physically, but they are part of this huge community of evil, QAnon, right-wing Christian terrorism that is pushing this country to some sort of violence that is going to eventually occur. So here we are yet again. Only this time, no, it's not a mass killing of innocent children. No, it's not somebody breaking into a synagogue and committing violent acts of murderous anti-Semitism. It's one of the QAnon followers of Donald Trump. Let me say it again. A QAnon follower of Donald Trump, a disciple of Donald Trump, a believer in Donald Trump, a person inspired by the filth and garbage that comes out of the mouth of Donald Trump. Donald Trump's fingerprints and footprints are all over this. On every single act of terrorism in this country, you will find Donald Trump's fingerprints. This son of a bitch for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years has unleashed this stream of hatred and idiocy and ridiculousness and lies and deception and poison. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy, this crazy son of a bitch said. And now we have people who will wind up in elective office after November 8th, who worship Donald Trump, who have been made insane by Donald Trump, who will continue their insanity because of the inspiration of Donald Trump. So when do you think it will stop? We may be stuck with Trumpism for the foreseeable future, on and on, even when this filthy, rotten subhuman croaks, when he finally chokes to death, his throat stuffed with undigested cheeseburgers. Even beyond that, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. I can't find the right words here, and I do apologize. All I can tell you is there is no doubt, not an iota of doubt, as to what has unleashed this hatred and poison and filth and terror in this country. Donald Trump. I said unleashed it. It's always been here. But this rotten bastard has unleashed it. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.